Hey everybody. Like Noah said, I co-founded a company called Addition. And Addition is an AI R&D studio. And we're really focused on how we can take these new generative models that are coming out and put them to work to build brands. Like Noah mentioned, my background's in marketing and advertising. I've worked in the business for nearly 20 years. And I've worn a lot of hats. I started out as a digital producer. I've been a digital strategist. I've been a partner at an agency. I started a digital production company. So I've seen a lot of the challenges that marketers face from a lot of different angles. And a couple years ago, I was thinking about starting a new business, and I felt like there's just so much data out there. There's so many channels, so many opportunities to use data to enhance human creativity, and wouldn't it be amazing if AI would start to get more powerful and help us do that? And so I teamed up with somebody I've known for a long time, Rick Barber, who's an incredible machine learning engineer, data scientist, and we co-founded Addition about 2 years ago now. And essentially what we do is we design AI systems, and we're very focused on problem solving. So I think in the last couple of years, we've had the opportunity to sort of do a lot of early R&D, like Noah was mentioning, and figure out a lot of the ways that brands can put generative AI to work. So one of the ways that we work with our clients is to use generative AI to help people find insights, right? So generative AI models are incredible at generating content, right? We're all familiar with ChatGPT and the ability to create text. That's founded and sort of rooted in the foundation model's capability to understand content at scale. So I'll show you a quick demo. If anybody's interested in playing around with some of this stuff, we put up these experiments at beta.addition.works. Cool. So essentially what we're doing here is we're asking the AI to find an insight. And it's going to go out, it's going to conduct its own research, it's going to Google search things and find news articles similar to what a human being would do. And as the articles come in, the AI is going to read them, and then it's going to generate new search queries based on what it's finding. And then eventually, it's going to use all of the content that it's found to come up with an insight. Thank you. And the way that we get AI to generate insights is we actually sort of embed human creativity into the AI system. So we use real insights created by real humans as training data to teach the AI to come up with a creative leap, something that's a little bit unexpected and different, but still rooted in fact. So you can kind of see what it's coming up with here. It's going to generate its sources. Our AI voice is going to read it in a second, so you don't have to squint your eyes.
As AI-driven marketing continues to grow, we often focus on how it automates tasks and analyzes data. But one of the true potential of AI in marketing is its ability to bring out the best in human creativity, allowing marketers to focus on innovating and building meaningful connections with their audience, ultimately bridging the gap between technology and authentic human experiences.
So kind of interesting, right? And what's really powerful with generative AI is you can scale these things up, right? So we work with some entertainment clients to understand how people are reacting to entertainment content in culture and what's driving the sharing of entertainment titles, right? So we can understand, the reasons that people are sharing content. We can understand the people who share content. And unlike previous, sort of eras of AI and analytics, generative AI can actually do the last mile, and it can actually tell you why the information is meaningful in natural language. We can take first-party data. So we work with a Fortune 500 financial client, and they have a ton of first-party research, and we can load that all into an AI system that you can query on demand. And you can ask a question, and you can get an answer in natural language, supported by quotes from actual customer research. Or if you want to, you can ask the AI to generate an insight. And you'll kind of see the difference between the two. The insight on the right, the AI is actually making a creative leap because we've sort of taught it to sort of interpret the data creatively. And it's actually coming up with an interesting insight that during times of inflation, it might be an opportunity for behavior change. And then what I think is really interesting is oftentimes there are multitudes of answers to a question, right? There's not just one answer. And generative AI is capable of taking big data sets and breaking them down. So in this case, we've asked, what are people's hopes when it comes to retirement? That's not a one-size-fits-all answer. There's a lot of different potential answers to that question. So in this case, we've set up an AI system that's looking at all the different answers. It's clustering them based on their conceptual similarity. And then the sort of prevalence of that answer is determining the size. So all sorts of ways that you can use generative AI to go from mountains of unstructured data to really nuanced insights and have the generative AI system sort of do the last mile to get you to something that's really tangible. We also create AI systems that generate content. And a big use case for this is personalization. So something that we worked on recently with Droga5 and the New York Times was called Story Portrait. And Story Portrait is an interactive data visualization of your subscriber behavior. And the idea is you can almost think of it as like the Spotify Wrapped for the Times. And in order to make this happen, we had to create a new content format. We had to create a little tiny headline that we called a micro headline. And in order to do this, we designed an AI system that was trained on human examples, right? So we worked with Droga5. We generated a couple hundred handwritten examples of these headlines. We fed that into a system along with hundreds of thousands of articles. And then what we did is we took the output and we sort of ran that through a series of checks where the AI would determine whether the content was factual, whether the output fit the creative guidelines, the editorial guidelines, and then the high quality outputs went back into the system to make it smarter to the point that we could generate over 100,000 of these individual pieces of content that got fed into this personalized experience. And that supported an integrated campaign. So there was advertising, print and outdoor, film, et cetera. And then what I think is really interesting is now brands are starting to take the leap and create experiences that are powered by AI, right? So, creating experiences where humans can actually interact with the brand directly through some kind of AI system. So this is something that we launched a couple weeks ago called the Dreamkeeper. And the idea here was, it was a partnership with Atlassian. And Atlassian makes software like Jira and ClickUp. And they wanted to demonstrate the power of collaboration. And so we teamed up with Droga5 and Atlassian to create this tool that helps people preserve their dreams. The way that this works is you go into this digital experience and you start typing your dream. And we created an AI dream scientist that actually helps you recall your dream. We worked with an actual dream scientist from Harvard to understand some of the prompts that they would ask. And we used that to kind of bootstrap this AI system that helps you visually recall your dream. And then once you've recalled your dream, that goes into a text-to-image model. We fine-tuned it to sort of match the art direction of the campaign, which was inspired by Alice in Wonderland. And then that goes into a text-to-video model that generates a 5-second loop, right? So optimized for sharing on TikTok and Instagram. And then what's really cool is everybody's dreams get preserved in a public gallery that's organized by similarity. So I create my dream, and then I can go into other people's dreams that are similar to mine. We also recently created an experience for Realtor.com called AI Dream Home. And Realtor has been around for a while, right? They're a .com. They were sort of founded in that era. And when you think about cutting edge technology, you oftentimes think of maybe a Zillow. And so they wanted to get ahead of that, and they wanted to use AI to do something that sort of demonstrated their technical capabilities, but also to drive to their listings because they have more listings than any other platform. And so we worked with them to design this AI experience called AI Dream Home. And the idea is that you can use AI to generate the house of your dreams, and then you can find it in real life. So you can kind of see here, we've got synthetic dream homes, and the user will type in a prompt, and we fine-tuned an image generation model called Stable Diffusion to pull this off. And then what we did is we used another AI technology called clip embeddings, right? And clip is it's almost like the opposite of Stable Diffusion, right? It goes from image to text, and we can use it to create a numerical representation of the concepts in an image. And so we applied that technology to over 20 million photos from active listings on Realtor.com's platform. And that allows us to create a visual search engine where if I type in a spaceship, not only do I get a spaceship-looking dream home, but I can find actual homes that look like a spaceship. So kind of fun, a little bit of utility, a little bit of entertainment, but it's really interesting how in the future people are going to be able to visually search products through the power of AI. So at the end of the day, what we do is we design AI systems and experiences. And the way that we think about this, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution, but maybe this is helpful if you're a brand or an agency, or a consultant who's thinking about, how to go about thinking about generative AI, right? Is just, starting by asking the right questions. And I think a big, part of it is figuring out what problem we want to solve with AI, right? There's this abundance of potential use cases for AI, and oftentimes when we work with marketers, they get almost paralyzed by the paradox of choice, right? There's just so many use cases. And so really thinking about, what is the sort of first order problem that we're trying to solve, right? And that could be something internally, it could be something, in terms of the customer journey, it could be a business problem, but really kind of narrowing in. And then thinking about, okay, well, what are the latest AI capabilities that are out there? And oftentimes, this is a moving target, right? So the Dreamkeeper example that I just shared, we actually went through several iterations of tech on that project because the project went on for about 4 or 5 months. And so we were constantly upgrading it so that when it came out, it was on the cutting edge, right? So thinking about not only what are the capabilities now, but if you're thinking about launching something in 6 months, right? Where's text to video going to be, right? Where's text to image going to be in 6 months? And then also thinking about data, right? And data is huge because data allows you to really customize your AI system, right? So going beyond the, sort of incredible power, but also, sort of generalized capability of, a ChatGPT, for example, and to something that's really specific, right? Specific to your brand, specific to your customers, et cetera. And then, ultimately, what we do is we design and build AI systems, right? And I think this is increasingly going to become a standard practice in most organizations, right? This is sort of like the new, sort of engineering paradigm for this era that we're entering, right? Which is that instead of, creating models, right? Not all of us can, sort of spend the, billions of dollars that it takes to, sort of train a GPT-4, but we can use those models inside of AI systems that incorporate data, right, that are connected to APIs so that they can communicate with the world. And then we can combine multiple AI functions together, right? Whether that's a single AI, like a GPT model that's, sort of chained together or working autonomously, or incorporating different modes of generative AI into the same system. And then I think the thing that probably surprised me the most over the last couple years was just how tricky it is to get the human experience right with AI, right? So I think a lot of times we think about AI as a technical challenge, right? We think about it as, oh, it's capable of this or it's capable of that. But there's a huge challenge in terms of creating AI that is intuitive to use, right? Where people, inherently, have alignment with the system, right? And a lot of that comes down to, sort of not only letting the human prompt AI, but also prompting the human, right? Sort of encouraging people to use the system the way that they're supposed to use it, but also aligning the system with their expectations. Trust is huge, right? So trust takes a lot of different, sort of shapes and forms, right? There's, brand safety, right? How do you sort of ensure that your AI system is brand safe? One of the things that we do quite a bit is we'll actually use AI to enhance brand safety within a generative system, right? So we're creating sort of like a chat-based experience now for a beer company, right? And that's challenging, right? We have to really think about brand safety, and so we're putting a lot of R&D into using AI to make sure that the experience is safe, and also being transparent with where the data is going, how people are sharing data, et cetera, and making sure that you're delivering good results, right? Because I think one of the things I found is that actually, people are a little bit skeptical, right? And so you have to almost over-deliver with AI to kind of establish trust, and then ultimately, it's going to be a journey, right? You're maybe not going to get it right on the first time. You need to bake optimization into the process, and you need to be willing to get feedback from people and adapt, whether that's adapting the system through reinforcement learning, or simply tweaking your design, to create something that's really going to work well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone.